lobby, and now we are actually in the draft. Let's hope that this time it actually works. Okay, we're getting into it now. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We had gone through a small break after the conclusion of our first series today, which was, of course, Onyx taking on Team NP. NP walked away from that series with a 2-0 victory. And because it was only a two-game series, we did have about an hour intermission to get to this point where now we're going to be moving back into the upper bracket for the upper bracket finals. It's Digital Chaos versus compLexity. The winner of the series moves on into the finals and are just one step away from securing their trip out to compete for the DAC championships, representing America and its finest Dota. Here we are now as we get underway into game number one. I'm Kyle Guy for Beyond the Summit. I'm going to be joined remotely from good buddy Rhyme. We subbed out Fogged. We got Rhyme in. And we're ready to bring you the coverage here. Ryan, I got to say, though, it's always a treat to have a compLexity game because the lobby is always so entertaining, but a compLexity versus DC lobby is extra special. I don't know if you happen to see much of the action, but
Oh,
the
I was reading the lobby chat indeed.
yeah,
I was paying
Swindles
very close
loves to,
attention.
he loves to have the mind game factor a lot with their coin flips. It's a shame the coin flip
I
can't be
understood
more
that.
public.
It made sense. I think. Basically, what he did is he won the coin toss, and then he said, "We don't actually want to choose what side we want. We want to defer that to game two." So they wanted to see what side DC wanted to pick, so they knew what side DC preferred. So for the second game, they would have an advantage after that, kind of thing, because they would flip again for game three. So yeah, they kind of put themselves in a position where they just want to know what DC want to play. And DC said they definitely wanted to choose Dire, and I think Misery worded it slightly mockingly, but he worded
Yeah.
it nonetheless.
Yeah, Misery had some. At first, he was kind of like, "Wait, what's happening here?" And then Swindle went the extra mile to explain exactly why he wanted to defer the first pick. And Misery's like, "Okay, I can understand that." And then, of course, sarcastically, will explain why he wanted to go for Dire side. So there's a bit of mind game there. Whatever the case may be, compLexity and Swindle get their wish. In game two, they will have a choice between what pick they want and what side they want. And here, they're blessed with first pick, and because of that, they use their first pick on an Underlord. And I only say that in a bit of a peculiar tone because, before 7.02, that was just common ground. But what do you think, Rhyme, now 7.02 Underlord? We didn't see any of it really earlier today or yesterday. So where do you think Underlord is now with some of those new adjustments to his aura and overall?
I think he's pretty enough for the most part. Like he's not. It's not that bad though. I think. I'm just trying to find the exact changes again.
Yeah,
I
I'm
think
not
basically
asking
the
you to call
movement
out the
speed.
numbers or anything like that.
Yeah, the
but
movement speed reduction is quite a thing because he's just easy to chase down the lane. The Atrophy Aura starts off much weaker, so it's not such a massive like lane hit. Like you don't think like, oh my god, I'm actually doing no damage to this Underlord like level 1, which is what you used to kind of feel. And 1v1s used to be almost impossible. And basically his talents are basically the level 15 talent where he got 200 HP and then he just was tank man is reduced now. Then he basically gets the movement speed back on that talent that he lost, so he's just kind of rebalanced rather than completely nerfed. But I think his early game definitely has taken quite a hit.
we'll see what Monkeys can do with it. It turned into a comfort pick for Monkeys for quite a while, but it is intriguing to see compLexity go for that over just getting him like a trusty Abaddon. It may be because they had the luxury of getting the first pick and they just still value the hero that highly. We'll have to see if it pays off for them or not. They move on into a Weaver pick since then, so maybe they are eluding themselves to some sort of armor strat. The first armor pawn to hit the field is this Dazzle pickup from DC, which also we didn't get to talk about yet, but they first picked a Clockwork for themselves, which is kind of intriguing. There's no direct Clockwork counter out there that compLexity have already committed to that you want a Clockwork for. I don't know if they're trying to turn this maybe into a Weehaw Shadow Fiend kind of a game, and they're going to do the whole Clockwork Shadow Fiend thing. It would be nice to have Shadow Fiend with Dazzle too. What do you think about the first pick Clockwork?
I think it's one of those things like it's not like amazing in itself but it's one of those heroes that you're okay with them having counters to because it's not the most important hero in a draft for the most part. I think they've basically gone for we want heroes later on that are good with Dazzle and we want an offlaner that does stuff. So basically you're probably going to be looking for, this is the prelude to Terrorblades and Ember Spirits, and, well, not let's say Ember after the change, like Shadow Fiends, as you said, just heroes that sit there and hit towers, and they have a hero that can punish complexity for like kind of overextending. Yeah, like
I'm
any hero that kind of sits there and tanks up and just hits buildings is going to be very, very high on the list for DC for this draft. With
Terrorblade was
SF banned
the
out, it's Terrorblade is the one I'm looking for.
yeah,
Maybe
that's the
you
name
can
that
see
you said.
Invoker coming out because they really do like Invoker. It's also quite good at killing Underlord. Um, yeah, for the most part, I'd say something like that. Just these heroes that just sit there and hit buildings.
And resolution is ridiculous on the Terrorblade too. The guy never
Mm.
seems to die either, so you give him a hero who kind of has two lives within itself, and it's
Yeah,
kind
they
of
always
a
give him a good start, I think. His lane
yeah,
is always like quite easy, especially with Dazzle. Like, I just see the Dazzle as like it opens up so many carries that you can pick because obviously the minus arm gives you just a natural advantage over the enemy carry. It's
yeah,
very hard to focus you, obviously, and some heroes like Terrorblade just kind of there's something about him where he just sits there with like 40 armor at like level 20, and then you can like, okay, he's powerful. And then Dazzle comes there, and the Terrorblades are sitting there with 70 armor and a Shadow Grave,
hmm
so killing him just becomes an inexorable task that you just can't really seem to achieve. But they've got Warlock, so they have some AoE kind of stuff which they can generally
yeah,
throw around the team fight, so Dazzle doesn't really have the I only have to worry about pressing the grave, no one's going to kill me,
yeah.
just need to sit behind my Terrorblade. No, there is a rock and it is coming for you. But
Exactly. It's rock,
it's
it's
the
coming,
Invoker.
and Fatal Bonds might also happen to latch onto you there. And we happen to have an Underlord who's going to be dropping down some sweet, sick ass spells from the heavens above. And whatever we stack on top of that, it could turn into an AoE wildfire, you know? But here they move on. They get the trusty Warlock, like you were alluding to. I wonder if this is going to be an option to go to a Z-Freak Venomancer kind of a game. You know, you have the classic Venomancer AoE ulti with Fatal Bonds. Kind of disgusting, kind of filthy. A lot of magic damage,
I
but
wouldn't shy away from it actually. I think it would be one of the better picks. Just maybe not necessarily for counter push, but actually more so for counter push. I think.
yeah,
It's
right.
also just good versus the Dazzle, and it's fairly decent. Can kill Invoker fairly often, like fairly easily, even with like a relatively low level move. Like, but you can farm up to like level 5 fairly quickly from like the 3rd minute camp spawns, and then from there on you can just kind of walk in with even just a level 1 Gale and just right click Invoker with your mid hero, and then kind of force the Dazzle to kind of go, well, I need to sit with Invoker, but I also need to sit and protect my safe lane. But then Underlord might get a lot of stuff, and it
Yeah.
just kind of screws up his decision making a bit. So I would not shy away from a Veno, actually. I think it's pretty good here.
If it's not the Veno, they could do just as much imposing on the mid laner with like an Earth Spirit. You can just get the Earth Spirit for Z-Freak as well, maybe. Invoker doesn't have that easy out like a Quap or Puck or something like that. He has to kind of have to walk the way out. We'll see. I'm sure they're going to get something for Z-Freak. It just was nice team synergy along with the Warlock to go with something like a Venomancer too. But they're thinking long and hard about this one. And we'll have to see. Also, you know, you see the Invoker, you see what potential matchups they could get for cancel. Do they, you know, do they want to get what they
Queen
can
of
for cancel
Pain,
now before it gets banned
Queen of Pain
out?
OD,
They're going to go for the Earth Spirit.
I'd say.
Okay. But yeah, now it's like you have risk losing the Queen of Pain, or I don't know. What do you think about maybe OD as a possible option
Yeah,
too?
I'd say OD would be more likely than Queen of Pain, actually. Simply because OD's like, well, they don't have much to save him, but they do have a lot of stuff which he can just put in front of him. So there's a lot of stuff where Cole just throw at the fight, and then OD follows up.
Uh-huh.
Also, his matchup versus Invoker isn't that bad. He's good versus Beastmaster. For the most part, you can save with Astral. He's good versus Dazzle because you can Astral Graves and just kill people instantly.
Yeah.
Because once you get, if you're Graved, you just wait like a second or two, and then you press the Astral on them. They're most likely going to die unless they've got a 17 wand. But yeah, the Dazzle really, he will force like int to be stolen from his cores more than they would like when someone's graved. So I'd say OD would be kind of nice for them. Also fits cancels hero pool
Yeah, it
more so
does.
than any other hero available right now, apart from maybe Queen of Pain.
Yeah.
But then Quap versus Invoker Beastmaster, if you do make one slight problem with your blink, or even if you don't, you can just get cold snapped, and with the attack speed and burst damage, you might fall over very quickly.
Lycan gets the ban here. Lycan, of course, recently added to Captain's Mode with this 7.02 patch, and already quickly being thrown into a lot of teams drafting rotations. Of course, Liquid found some success with Matama Man. Earlier today, we saw a little bit of success both ways, actually. It was MP in the hands of Owie, who just had Destruction on it, but then Mason tried it out. Came up a bit short in that one, but compLexity just not looking to allow DC to kind of get their hands on it. Their wolf paws, if you will. I'm also curious
Hmm.
to see the early game for Earth Spirit now, because if this was the old patch and you're being on Radiant side, you can't just kind of pull towards the tower anymore and get that free level 2. So Zfrick actually needs to kind of either find some other new jungle method or be successful in that early gank. Getting to level 2 might be, him just kind of hanging in the side lane now. Not as easy as it used to be. But yeah, look, Tinker, 5th pick for complexity. That's going to be the cancel choice.
Yeah, the Tinker pick I'd say indicates that they want to do more from the laning stage, because Tinker, honestly, if it's just they just play a long drawn out game, he's going to get caught by Beastmaster Hawks, by Clockwork Rockets, by Invoker especially. There's 4 heroes in this game that make Tinker very very difficult to play, but not necessarily if he's quite far ahead. So I'd say that Cole have the first 25 minutes to really make their mark on the laning phase, and after that maybe take Croatia Weaver or just go and take some out of towers and push with that Tinker rather than necessarily like take a long drawn out fight with like map movement and stuff like that, because after a while you're gonna just get caught, and by attrition you will lose Tinkers, you will lose Weavers, and then you will lose Buildings. So
It does feel very high tempo now from DC. Going into this last Vengeful Spirit pickup means that uh, things are going to be going a lot faster. I mean, that's Avenged Core, right? I'm not missing the mark on
yep,
this
that's
one.
Avenged
Yeah,
Core
so I
for certain.
mean, that means they want to gather, they want to take advantage of her, they want to take advantage of the Beastmaster, and maybe even just 5-man as soon as like they're going on the back of an early Clockwork gank with his first hook shot, let's say. The Tinker's going to be nice. You have March of Machines to kind of help slow the roll pushing, but I don't know. It's like DC are going to be pretty heavy on going in for that huge power peak when they can 5-man. Do you think complexity, let's say they don't have the best laning phase, do you think that they are going to be able to withstand the pushing power of DC?
I don't think so. I
Yeah.
I think that it's so easy for so many heroes on Cole to die. Like, if you look at this Clockwork's game, for example, this is a first pick Clockwork. His game is basically, it's not a very difficult lane. Like, it's Weaver thing. So if you get some stuff, like maybe someone could sit with him for a while, give him to like level 3 or 4 or something like that. Or it's actually, yeah. So this Clockwork's gonna have a pretty decent game. Like he's just gonna run around, annoy supports. But once he gets 6, he has fairly obvious targets. Like he can run straight at the Tinker, force like Warlock and Earth Spirit to kind of save him the whole time. So
Yeah.
if this Clockwork has a good start, which he probably will, because Pit Lord isn't really going to be doing much to contest like the Venge Dazzle lane. Like I'm just really seeing DC have lots and lots of ways to do stuff, and Cole just need to persevere through that and then kind of capitalize on any advantage from the laning stage they may get, which is in question because I don't think they really have the lane advantage. Most of it's going to probably come from this Tinker versus Invoker lane, which they can help with the Earth Spirit. Yeah, it's just the Weaver is going to have to crush the Beastmaster for the most part.
Already Misery commits his first point into the battery salt. Look how much damage it actually does here on the Z-Freak. Almost brings him down to about half of his life and forces him away from the DC bounty rune that they're looking to hold. I'll be looking to keep a lot of eyes towards Misery. I have not been able to cast or watch a support Clockwork in a long time, so I'm very curious on where he's looking to make his mark, if he's kind of being more of a bodyguard for that mid lane to assure safer time for the Weehaw Invoker and prevent any sort of, interference from Z-Freak's Earth Spirit, or if he's trying to be like his own kind of Earth Spirit, trying to get up in the face of other lanes or mid lane and trying to be a problem that way.
Yeah, he should have a fairly clear road, I think. This top lane looks very, very, very deadly, simply because of the Invoker Sunstrike. There are so many ways for them to use it. Beastmaster Roar, Venge Stun, they've got the Clockwork, obviously, with the cogs, so it's just, once the ball gets rolling for DC and they start getting the next few pickups, like, every single hero has, like, a nice path into this game, I think. And the same doesn't really hold true for Cole, but their lanes are stronger, in theory, so
I
it's
see
up to
here.
Z-Freak, basically.
Z-Freak will lose that ward, though, that they love to plant down. Saxa will go to the bottom lane, so they're going to run 2-1-2. Okay, I wasn't sure. I was figuring the Dazzle was still going to be hanging top lane with Resolution as a babysitter, like we were talking about early in the draft, but it does look like Misery's going to be doing that position, and he could be the one to bump back and get in the face of Monkeys, because, it's an Underlord. Before this patch, probably one of the best at being able to tank any sort of trouble in the off lane, but now there's a new Underlord. Misery's happy to kind of go toe-to-toe with him. The wave is even going to help a bit on peppering him, and suddenly he's going to have to start chewing through that regen.
Yep, that space is just good for Misery. He trades extremely efficiently, and he zones the pit out of a complete wave, and also there's an extra range creep for Radiant, so the wave is also going to push a little bit more. So it's not really looking like it's going to improve anytime soon for Monkeys. Unless Sea Freak happens to do something, and he places the ward, which is just going to block that small camp, and he's going to run at Resolution.
Rolls right into him, tries to zone him back. You know, this has been where he would normally be able to kind of do that pull and jungle and just get to level 2 and then make his appearance in the game. Now has to debut at level 1 and find a place that he can make a decent impression in. For now, he'll be hanging by the side of Monkeys so that Misery can't just easily zone him back. And can kind of still remain in the corner, pop a TP if necessary to kind of roll elsewhere.
I feel the inspiration for that gank was Monkey saying, guys, he used Howl on me top. And then Zefreak's like, Howl, you say? And he just walks in and just goes, well, I'm just going to roll into him then. And Vengeance is sitting there with her Howl and just like, I can't stun you, so please just stop hitting me for a bit.
Well, by now, has the stun ready to go, so any future gank might not be nearly as promising for them. Misery will have first dibs on his nearby Bounty Rune, while Zefreak picks up the other one. Mid lane, our early CS look is looking pretty dang promising for our cancelled Tinker here. 10 and 4, Invoker 4 and 5. Yeah, the power of that laser early on.
Yep, it's a well, one of the better laning skills in the game. Everyone who lanes against Tinker is very, very upset for a while, and then they're going to go, where does the Tinker go? And it's that time after the Tinker disappeared into the jungle that you can get him.
Misery committing in the top lane, gets a great cog, but he connects it and lands it on both Zefreak and Monkeys.
Oh, maybe.
Roll. Oh, Zefreak gets it. That was just the tip of that boulder roll. He may die for it, but much worth, I believe. They were trapped within the cogs, and he just committed all this. Like, they dropped down everything they had from Underlord and right-clicked him, and Misery lost that fight.
I'm just wondering, Zefreak maybe didn't have to die. Monkeys could have just dropped the Firestorm on his head, but I think he didn't really expect the salve either, so Zefreak kind of salvaging what could have been a misplay, which is good for him. I'm just looking towards his bot lane. Really, this CS down here isn't looking bad for Moon and Saxa. They're really kind of doing well in terms of both XP and farm. And I think this is a problem for Cole, because I think this is one of the lanes that they really kind of wanted to go well for them. But now, obviously, as the levels get higher up, when Dazzle hits level 3 and Beastmaster has now hit level 4, so he's got the aura and the axes and the second level in Boar, this is when Moo kind of has to start worrying about using a Shikuchi too freely. Weeha's getting ran at, but
yeah,
Zefreak
tried to roll in. Might have missed the mark on catching him with the rolling boulder. Tries to zone him back. Weeha will turn on to him and say, get the hell off my back. It will force Zefreak all the way back in a way. But he's happy because of that kill on the top lane, he shot right up to level 3 at 3 minutes in. So now he has the tools he wants to go to the other lanes and make an impression there. Which may have to be back at top lane because Resolution's continuing to kind of grind away on the farm pretty freely on that front. Roll mid lane. Ooh, just going to miss its mark. Cold Snap under the tower with some right clicks. Not going to be enough. But
this lane is going horribly for Weeha now, especially now he has to play under the watchful eye of Zefreak.
Ooh, catch the back end of that, but it's Monkeys getting jumped there between Misery and Resolution. They lock him down hard, and he's not going to be able to get out.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
17 and 9 versus 7 and 6. It will get better because Weeha has he's going to have the higher attack damage, and it's also harder for Tinker to play up now that the Clockwork is hitting level 4 with boots. So there is always that risk, especially now that, well, Monkeys is kind of farming under tower, so they don't really have as much scouting information on where the supports of DC are. But until Council starts feeling that he needs to play back, Weeha is still going to be suffering here for a while.
And it's off.
Okay, so Misery and Wee will tap onto the shrine here. Misery has been peppering the bottom lane with rockets from time to time, but it looks like he's just going to head back up towards the side of Resolution. And is that what you do with your support Clockwork? You hang in the lane and you wait till maybe you get to your level 3 and then look to really kind of make some kills happen here. But, uh-oh. Moves are being made onto Monkeys as Misery returns, but Zefreak's there, kicks Misery right back out of the lane, and they'll have space.
Yeah, he turned down that gank. He decided he didn't want it.
Oh, unfortunately misses the connection with the rolling boulder. We'll back away.
Yeah, but that's mostly the case. I think level 4 is the point where level 2 Battery Assault is far more damage. It's actually more than doubles the damage coming out from the spell, so At that point, when you have boots, maybe even tranquil boots sometimes, if you get like a kill in your lane or something like that, that's when you can really start being scary. Because every single level, Battery Assault has a huge jump in damage. And pretty much no hero in the game can actually 1v1 a support Clockwork. Especially not Cancel right now, but
Yeah.
thankfully he realizes the folly of his movements.
Misery obviously trying to bodyguard where the rune could have possibly popped up or something, and wanted to see if he could intercept on the cancel. Cancel backs away, and will allow Z-Freak to kind of take over into the lane. Bottom lane, Moo's under a bit of trouble here. Sunstrike not going to find its mark. Moo hanging a bit further back. Eats a lot of damage though, and needs to scurry the hell out of there. Melon's trying to slow him as he has committed. I haven't really been able to click on too much Swindle this game. He is getting roared right now. First level 6 roar of the game. Now hit with the poison. I'm sure as hell he's done for. Moon will take that kill. But yeah, he's going a Peevil build on this Warlock, the fluff build.
Yeah, there's something quite therapeutic about seeing a Weaver get hit in laning stage by a level 3 Shadow Wave onto 2 boars and like a hero. Just seeing him lose all of his health and having to scurry back away. Because after you play offlane against Weaver enough, you start to really resent the bug man. He is quite irritating.
Love the use
So
of the
I'm
boars
quite
with
happy that DC have taken the advantage in this lane. Monkeys is now going to be sitting there absorbing it, and Weaver will move away until he gets level 6 for the most part, because until he gets level 6, actually even when he does get level 6, considering there's a Sunstrike on the field, he may just fall over anyway, which would not be good for him.
And there's a decent amount of lockdown. We already saw the Roar go to use Magic Missile. He's able to get the connection on it. Oh, Misery found Melons. The two captains squaring off inside the cogs, and Misery's going to take the win on this one. Quick Warlock down. Z-Freak shows up. Rolling Boulder. Ooh, gets stunned. Can he go for the Boulder Smash kick? He goes for it. Doesn't matter. They already got the kill. Moo picks that one up. Swap back. Resolution wants redemption, and they're going to get it. Silence there for Saksa, but Moo has to head away.
Sunstrike up in 3. He could go for this if he doesn't ulti it. No.
Meanwhile, Weehaw,
Instead he just solo kills Cancel.
Does he have
That's
Sunstrike? Oh, no,
He didn't even need a
mana.
Sunstrike, he just cold snapped him to death. I assume he used Alacrity at some point during that. Otherwise it's quite difficult to see how that happened.
All right then.
But that is a very, very, very good way of salvaging your Invoker versus Tinker 1v1. And now, assuming he doesn't die in the next 2 minutes, he has a pretty clear path to his Midas. So, Tinker having to play catch-up from a Tinker versus Invoker lane, not really what you want to have to do.
In the meantime, Melons will reside in the lane in hopes of getting himself pushing closer to his level 6 now. It's feeling pretty good for DC, a team that is definitely going to be playing with the clock a bit more. You're looking at Resolution and Moon, both at top in terms of CS. So they're farming
as soon as
nicely
Clock
here.
hits 6, there's so many people that can die on the side of Col. It's just from Clockwork Sunstrike, and Beastmaster Sunstrike, and Venge Sunstrike. There's just lots of little Sunstrike combos that basically mean Weehaw has a very, very nice game. This is a very nice Invoker game. You don't usually get a lot of those. If you watch Liquid play, they usually manage to provide nice Invoker games for Miracle. This feels not quite the same because it's a different kind of style, but he's going to get rocked, which isn't quite so nice.
Z-Freak also shows up from the high ground nearby, and he will go down. He also was able to get down a pretty deep ward into DC territory rather on top of that. So now they'll turn this into a tier 1 push with the help of the Golem, and we'll see if DC do anything to respond to it. Soxa's first on the scene now to help out.
And the shout onto Monkeys on bot lane,
Yep.
and he will get ran up by 2 angry men.
Misery holds him in place with the battery assault, and that'll be the end of it. Z-Freak rolling on in. Now going to be a bit short on the mana. Sunstrike. Ooh, comes out. He somehow manages to sidestep it. Misery, though, follows it up with a good hook shot, then gets kicked away from Z-Freak, getting denied. Now they will end up losing Moon, making it a 1-for-1 trade between the offlaners.
That's really, really good map awareness from Z-Freak, though. He realized that that was probably the only thing going on the map, and he was running in a very clear straight line, running quite slowly, so he realizes Invoker's probably looking at me right now.
Yeah.
So that's a very, very good call to make, and it does delay the Invoker Midas, and it keeps him alive, which is probably more important for Z-Freak. But that's just really, really good play in general. Again, they've got the Rock again at a minute and a half. Tinker's probably just going to be farming up to his bots for now. So they probably just want to play very, very safe. They possibly want to drag some heroes from DC to the bot lane with Weaver, and then Weaver's probably going to back off after this creep wave because he realizes, actually, they are probably coming after me now.
Ooh. Yeah, we'll back out. Moon Meander was nearby, had a few more seconds ready to go with the roar. Does not want to risk getting locked down at that moment in time. Cancel. Forging forward, looking to go for the boots of travel.
Yep.
And Weeha's farming near that ward, yeah. So the smoke is out, and they're going to look to go assassinate this Invoker, maybe? Or just straight go top.
I think, yeah. They want to do something with this Underlord. They really want to make him not poor, because he has had a fairly difficult game so far. He's done fairly well in CS, but standing only at level 8 at 11 minutes, it's like... I think previously we were used to seeing Underlords just kind of being almost free farm entirely if they had an even slightly okay beginning. But yeah, it's not quite the case this time. DC will take the bottom tower, and
Misery mid lane. Yeah, hook shot in onto cancel. He had smoke to set up into this position. Now Cole show themselves. Z-Freak and Swindle come out from the dark. He commits in the Magnetize, looking to go for Weed. They turn it back around. They'll blow up Z-Freak on that one. Monkey's looking to finish the job. Needs another right click. The heal's there from Saksa. He has a grave. Needs to get closer, though. Looks like he'll be fine. Swap on the other side, though, comes out from Resolution. They're going to get the quick snipe and finish. It looks like a Melons. And it's going to be a favorable fight for DC as they run on out. And they will hit the showers, probably.
Yep, they will grab that shrine together. Everyone is shrining. All of DC, 5-man efficiency on that shrine.
5-man shower play. I love it. They're feeling pretty refreshed. Back to the lane.
Good thing about that is they did save their Tinker and they didn't use rocks. So now they're entering the phase where Tinker's almost got Boots of Travel, but he is going to get chased by the Shouty Man, but the Shouty Man doesn't actually have the shout. So he's going to feel a little bit safer for that.
Shouty Man. I like it. It's like a bad superhero.
Mm.
Bottom lane.
I think about these heroes in this way.
Late at night, I just think of crazy superheroes. Shouty Man and Robot Hook. Not able to get the job done here in the bottom lane, but they are forcing Cole back defensively, waiting behind the tier 2, and they're in the dark at this point. DC have totally taken over their hood, and now we're making a new approach towards the mid lane.
DC want to kill someone mid and then take the tower, but it's a question of who they want to kill and then take the tower. Although Resolution will stand as a resolute defender of this tower, but he will have to watch it die.
Yeah, Moog gets it. There was also almost a TP in for Misery, had a hook shot. They thought about it, then he decided to cancel. And now we have our Aurora up here, and a Blink Dagger too. My goodness, with Hawk, it's gonna be a bit awkward here for Tinker moving forward. I know you were talking about it a bit there before, but now it becomes much more real. Hawk, yep. Blink, Moon.
This is the point of the game where it gets scary.
They pinged him.
Your tier 1 towers are getting pressured mid, so you feel like all your heroes have to sit there. So you know that if they go on you, there's probably not going to be any help. So Cancel, looking at this map now, he knows he can't farm his own jungle because that's being taken over by the angry heroes of DC with the Sunstrike backing them up.
Yes.
He can't farm the enemy jungle because that's all the Weaver's farming,
yes.
And all the lanes are pushed out towards where DC are. So there really is nowhere safe. So he'll take what he can bot, but already Misery's kind of setting himself up for this hook. But I don't think they really want to take
all right, Roar is out. There's a Sunstrike, a hook shot if they want. No, Misery doesn't want to commit in for it yet. He holds back. Action also breaking out in the mid lane as a rock's going to get dropped right onto the head of Wee, and he gets blasted down. DC are now smoked and running back to maybe get the cutoff here onto Cole if possible as they look to finish off this tier 1. It's an awkward approach, though, into a March of Machines and with your team still kind of split apart.
So of all the things that could happen there for DC, I think that might have been the worst.
Yeah.
They use that spot. They commit. Invoker has to pay attention for the Sunstrike, so it doesn't see the gank coming, and they lose their mid tower. So all in all, Cole have a very effective minute or two there. So that was probably one of the scariest points in the game for Tinker. So he's kind of got a path now where he's got access to the enemy jungle if he so wants it for the most part. They've taken back control of their jungle. DC feel like they have to defend this mid area. So now the game feels a lot safer for him. So just that little mistake there, I wouldn't even call it a mistake, just like a snap decision which wasn't really agreed upon by DC. It's gonna cost them now, because Monkeys gets time to farm a bot lane, he's getting close to Mex, 700 away. And DC just farm their jungle, farming up items. It's not the worst thing in the world, but DC would really like to start have been snowballing on the Invoker
Yeah.
at this point, I think.
Yeah,
Because he's kind of been set back.
This is definitely a fragile lineup as far as when the clock continues to tick and we move more into the later portions of this game. Resolution,
Dire's bottom tower is
you
under
know, is the
attack.
core Venge after all, looking to build in what looks like a Dragonlance here. Nearby, Z freaking Misery up in arms. Thinks about moving in with a hook shot. We'll hold on to it for now after he gets kicked out.
Dire's bottom tower is under
You know, that's
attack.
unfortunately for Misery, one of like a natural rival to his is going to be that Earth Spirit. More so in the past than it is lately, I guess, because of the grip being able to pull people. Resolution bottom lane gets a just quick takedown of Monkeys. I was not expecting that. I was more expecting this approach in the top lane instead. And it looks like
So he
just
got
squeezed
shouted at,
out.
so nice move for them, but Misery's going to get ran out along with Saxa, but Saxa should just TP out with Grave, and Misery will...
Oh, he
I
tried
like
the
the
hook
attempt
shot,
there, but
but Z-Freak will be able to roll right in front of him, blocks it out, Moose slides in, and they're going to be able to get the finish with Cancel. Peppering in the last shot. He gets Misery down. Cole are still crawling themselves back into this game here. Though DC have the kill advantage, their net worth advantage is very minimal, only about 1K.
yes, it's not really... I think this game, it feels too fragile for Cole, though. The heroes are so squishy, like, outside of their huge teamfight combo, I think. The Underlord is the main one who's going to have to stand in front with his mech, but even though just the threat of the Sunstrike plus the Venge burst damage is just so scary. I think if either one of Tinker or Weaver die, then they lose the ability to fight even with this rock. And that really does worry me. Because if you look, Weaver 1.2k HP, he's got Dragonlance, but he doesn't have Lincolns, he doesn't have anything to stop the Roar. So he's now living, until he gets that Lincolns, he lives in the dangerous world where any kind of smoke gank where he gets caught unawares will kill him pretty much instantly. Because Sunstrike is just that good of a global spell. I've often said, like, I've talked to people about this, and they basically say, you pick Invoker for the Sunstrike. Because it is one of his best spells by
As long
far.
as he doesn't get ganked while trying to set one up elsewhere, then
Yeah,
things
that
will be
is
fine.
the non-ideal version, but I think for the most part,
here's
got
a
decent amount of fun.
a hustle movement here from Cole in the bottom lane, looking to get a hold of either Resolution or Saxa as they head out. Uh-oh, Perch Creep got a hold of Dazzle here. Can they get the Boulder Smash in time? No, it's a bit too far, and Boulder Smash is slow now because the frog said so, and not going to be able to cancel that one. Good narrow escape there from DC as Cole reaffirmed their position through this bottom lane, and they want to make sure they take their jungle back. A sentry will be dropped, but for DC, they put the ward down a little closer to the lane, so they'll be able to hold that vision there.
Radiant's top tower has
DC just
fallen.
running down the top lane, they have a ward, but
Dire's bottom
more the
tower is under
killing defenders of
attack.
the tier 1. Resolution just running by, see if he can get like a howl into swap, but Cancel will not and should not let that happen. So he's going to successfully defend this tower for the most part. Now it's a question of whether the smoke from Cole, which happened maybe 20 seconds ago, is going to catch anybody, because DC really, apart from farming this area of the jungle, have no reason to stay here. So it's going to be seeing if they realize it's coming.
Uh-oh.
They probably want to find the Venge, which they will.
Oh, yes, they will. Oh, swing and a miss, though, on the Boulder Smash. Maybe just a bit too sudden, a bit too spazzy, if you will. They'll get him, though, with the rock eventually. And now Cancel showing up. Is it enough time for Weehaw to step in? He's able to get the good tornado connection. The laser will fly. Weehaw eats a lot of damage. They will still be able to swarm in on the Resolution and get the finish there. On the other side, Cancel and Moo looking up for the hunt here. Misery will be able to make it out in the back end of a TP. Weehaw goes to the side shop. He does have the boots of travel. Puts himself into a corner and will be able to make it away. The rest of DC are in the mid lane. They roar, and then they get the quick takedown of Cancel as he returns. DC are there waiting and ambush him. And now going for the tier 1.
Yeah, it feels like it was a good rotation. They caught Resolution, but still DC getting the tower is just, I think that's the more important of the events here. Because losing that tier 1 tower when you have a Tinker basically limits the area of farm he has access to. It removes like this your ability to push out the wave very, very easily. So it removes your control. So they get the ward placed down here behind where the tier 1 used to be. So they see if anyone from Cole wants to farm this section of the jungle. They see if anyone moving in from middle. And overall, it's just, they have very good control over the Cole jungle. So, DC at this point, they're feeling a lot more relaxed than they were. Invoker can just kind of farm his ags, and they can just kind of wait it out. And then, any move they make, they can immediately take Roshan afterwards.
Looks like they'll get a pick on bottom lane. Misery, been spotted out from Moo, allows for the easy rotation in from Cancel. Two of them will obviously get the takedown of the support. Clockwork. Nothing too troublesome there for DC. There was a point I was about to make, and I forgot what it was. Oh, it was Moon on his way towards the Necro Book, and then I was just going to say how this is pretty much the only hero who actually still gets this item. So it's nice to see it once again.
Dire's bottom tower is
And with Dazzle and with Medallion, and lots of damage from both Venge, this Roche will die in record time, and Cole will not be here to stop it. Even if they had Rocket,
Monkeys
which
is
dies so
here
quickly.
with a Dark Rift party of Cole, but it's too late to stop the takedown of the Roche. Even Saksa going to be able to make it away
tower has fallen.
at a photo finish back to base. DC will avoid the trouble. Cole, it was a good attempt, but unfortunately the timing is just a bit off. They wanted to get that bottom tier 1 first, but it just cost them a little bit too much time.
Yep, so it's just DC take Roche very quickly, but I don't think they can really do that much with it. I think they're going to play relatively normally for the most part. Venge is coming up close to Shadowblade, but it's flying out to her now, I believe, so more ways to catch people. I think DC's lineup from now is going to be, even with an Aegis, they still want to go, we want to get a pick off, and then we want to go kill people. Killing either the Pit Lord, the Tinker, or the Warlock gives them a good avenue for going for the tier 2s. But they're going to definitely need that. Although they will pressure this tower, seeing as it's half HP and no one from Cole is here to defend it.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Resolution begins to go to work, flexing that new Shadow Blade.
Radiant's
Tower goes
bottom
down.
tower has
Moose
fallen.
waiting there behind. Misery was toying at the idea a bit with the rocket. Looks like he's got his Midas now complete, too, in preparation for a possible late game. He
Yeah, I like
heads
this
to mid
Midas.
lane to slow down the push, but DC are all still here in the bottom lane, trying to see if they can force Cole all the way back. But, yeah, what do you think about the Misery Clockwork Midas?
Well, the enemy Warlock has got a Midas, so it's kind of like we have one each in a very basic, simple way of thinking about it, but it's just nice to have. He's going to be... If an underfarmed Clockwork in this game is probably going to die fairly quickly to Tinker, not do much to the Pit Lord, and generally get 4-shot by the Weaver, especially when Weaver gets like Lincolns, and probably is going to get a Pike this game. It's just, you feel kind of useless if you don't really have a lot of items to justify your existence. Clock's one of those heroes that can fall off very quickly, if you're not careful.
Ooh. They spot out Melons and quickly finish him out. Z-Freak had also been hanging around the area, tried to go in for the finisher Misery, but not be able to grab it on the other side. They look to root and lock down Saksa and Resolution on one front, and then go for Moon on the other side. This fight totally split down the middle. Now DC Weeha shows up to play, blasts out his Invoker combo, but Moo's going to be able to time-lapse it off. Monkeys eats the bulk of damage from Resolution, and he cannot tank through that. Now the swap back send with a Magic Missile. They'll get it done. Cancel looks to step in, gets the laser hit. Saksa will save himself with the Grave. This Centaur, though, has been putting in the work. Gets another connecting stun. Eventually, they will be able to make their move in, and the Magic Missile will finish off Cancel. It's a double kill for Resolution. Cancel sporting a 3-kill streak with that bounty, too. It's a big fight for DC, and they take about a 2K gold swing off of it.
Yeah, and that Rambo death from Cancel is probably going to cost them the majority of health in this tier 2, if not the entire tower, because they just have Vendora and an Evoker with Alacrity. Venge's hitting for 300, and this tower is probably going to fall over. Although they may feel slightly scared of the Earth Spirit, but they know that they have to rock in order to defend it, so... Yeah, it's just a free tower. That would not have happened had Cancel not gone in. So, he's probably going to be kicking himself for that one. Now, Moon will retreat into his own jungle, farm his Ancient stack, Resolution. He grabbed himself a Wolf, so now he hits even harder. Things are going pretty much DC's way. Misery working towards the Blade Mail so he can become the Tinker solo assassinator. And Cole just needs to be very, very careful now, because the pickoffs have happened, the bad fights have occurred, and now they live in the world where all of their cores die to Hook or a Raw, so...
Well,
it's looking difficult now.
it is. And what do Cole do when things get difficult? They grab a smoke, they pop it, and see how the hell they can change the momentum of this game, and that's where they are, hanging up near the Roche pit.
They ping exactly where DC are,
Yeah.
but it's a question of... They
Can
need to
they-
probably catch the Dazzle first and burst him.
You don't want to walk uphill into him. Z-Freak's like, I'll just roll right in there and see what's up. Goes right next to Weehaw, doesn't get good connection yet with the Boulder Smash, but Swindle will help things out, dropping down the rock, then the Magnetize to fly. Grave's going to be there to help save Wee. Misery jumps in to isolate and help to get the finish onto Melons, but the Magnetize damage is too much for Misery to even handle. They'll be able to force down the Aegis. The second life of Weehaw comes back, and he quickly ghost walks the hell out of there. Zeefrick tries to make chase, but they are not going to be able to cut him off. They tried to pop the dust, but he's already out the other side. So a good jump from Cole. It's not as juicy of a pick in a fight, I'm sure, as compLexity we're hoping to get out of this smoke movement, but
at least 2 or 3 heroes there, that becomes... I would even hesitate to, like, even if you kill the Invoker there, I think losing the tier 2 means that now your shrines are... it just feels very, very much like a trade. Because Resolution got the tower top. Zeefreak is going to escape.
barely. Mid lane, the roar's out. I heard that roar from the other side of the map, and it's Moon. He's pissed off. Shouty Man picks up this kill as he takes down the Uber Lord.
Yes, he does. And now he picks up a gem, so all of Cole's map control is going to go completely out the window from this point. Everyone's pinging for the shrine. This is probably going to be just a 2-man shrine after Resolution takes the Ancients. A 2-man shrine from Mana. Nowhere near as efficient as the previous one, which is unfortunate, but
yeah,
it's the best they can really do.
those kinds of shrines are the shrines we all really crave, but this one, nice little modest spritzer, as they will step away with some more mana, and we look to Cole once again. Good smoke movement, but they need much more than that. Can't put everything onto the balance of, you know, a late game Moo Weaver here.
I think, yeah, late game Weaver in this case isn't really going to cut it, especially when there's just so much lockdown on this team. And Weaver just does suffer against Dazzle in the late game because once everyone is weaved at a certain point, Weaver does, you really do begin to notice the lack of physical damage that the hero does output. So he's going to be going for Maelstrom, which is fairly standard. People have kind of shied away from going Deso recently. You see a lot more like Linken's or Diffusal into Linken's or Dragonlance Diffusal into Maelstrom and Mjolnir and that kind of thing. Because Deso kind of feels a bit too clunky almost, I feel. It's difficult to fight with. You feel that you have to go and hit buildings. You have to be that single target only. You kind of have to stick to one target and just kind of fight from there. So Maelstrom lets you feel a bit more comfortable going into farming periods and so on and so forth. So
here comes DC, half smoked up. Yeah, half smoked up. Initiator Misery is going to be hiding. Looking. Oh, this rocket. Does it spot him? It does. He moves in, goes for the catch onto Zeefreak. Swindles will drop the rock. Gets good connection onto 2. Can compLexity follow it up with as much damage as possible? This Fatal's bond's going to be locked between Saksa and Wee. Saksa takes his leave, goes back home to try to stay alive on this one, and will be able to. Weeha's going to have to make his own leave here, and Misery heads out the other side. Jump in from DC here. compLexity are going to be able to hold their ground, though. DC and Moo are able to fight it out, and they're going to make the call now for Zeefreak to buy back and come to play here. He has a Magnetize, a couple of stones to work with, but at that moment, DC peace out. This buyback is not going to lead to too much. Ooh, Misery might have spotted out Cancel here. Doesn't have any mana for a hook shot. Actually,
dead. Yeah,
he might actually die himself. He needs to be careful here. Cancel's looking to chase.
Very careful. No, he's going to be okay, and Weeha's actually going to catch him. And then the Yules combo and Cancel is
Hocus Pocus, nerd. Wonderful combo.
Indeed.
He's magic.
And
man.
now they've TP'd up here with monkeys, and Misery will just about be alive. So that didn't really go well for Cole. And what you do notice is like Weaver was full HP after that time lapse, and he's running into maybe a 30% HP Resolution, and just Avenge with the aura, with this kind of item advantage, like you can just man fight because you're next to a Beastmaster with the Inner Beast and the Vlad's aura. It's just Melo's just got
I saw it.
disintegrated.
Swap insta decimation there. I mean, Swindle doesn't have his rock, so just unfortunately not going to be there for Fatal Bond's upheaval action.
Saxa can just play so up in this game. He is very, very calm compared to Cole at this point.
This is the
you just can't sit in front of the towers. You will just disintegrate.
This is as good as this lineup gets for DC, and I don't think there's a way for Cole to stop it. I mean, it was kind of alluded to at the start of the game. If compLexity, let's say, are not able to come out very successful from the laning phase, are they going to be able to slow the roll of DC? Here it looks like DC are not stopping. They're not hitting the handbrake whatsoever. These racks are done for. They'll pull off. Cole might have to just
feels
lock them
that
out.
DC's plan, like game plan, is just so much more well defined than Cole's at this point. Because even from the beginning, you could see like it's going to be repetitive team fights from Cole, and they're going to push on the back of like a Tinker, and then they're going to have Pit Lord at the front with Weaver hitting buildings and so on and so forth. but just kind of having a stronger team fight. But DC, all they need to do is just get early pickoffs and then just go from there, because their pushing and their roshing is just so much more, I don't know, it just feels so much more convenient. All everything is just, we have to take the fight, we have to kill a few heroes, and then we have to go group up, we have to force a fight, we have to make sure the Earth Spirit doesn't die, we have to get the rock perfectly. DC, it's just like, jump in, shout at the guy, press Sunstrike, Venge, just don't die early on, then you can fight the Weaver afterwards. It just feels like they have so many more ways to start fights, so many more ways to kind of bounce back, even from a poor laning phase. Invoker had a hard time, he gets a few Sunstrikes, then he's back. It feels that DC's draft really, it feels much nicer to play, and I think it's just stronger overall. And Resolution now is going to be picking up the Silver Edge, he's got his BKB, and Invoker with the Blink, he also Ags, and he can also buy his BKB fairly soon. It feels like, with majority of damage coming from like the Earth Spirit and the Tinker, I think the BKBs are going to be the, well, the Death's Door kind of area for Cole.
Cole does smoke up, and they're hoping to catch DC off guard here, and nearby is Misery, but his team is not too far behind him. This could be the beginning of the end of Cole if this does not go so well. Misery going in nearby. Moo goes into Sakuchi. Do they have the vision? Doesn't look like it. The Rocket should see him. There's a Wolf kind of blocking the front line. There the combo goes out, pushing Z-Freak back and away. There's the counterplay, the Chaotic Offering. The pipe gonna get popped from Monkeys, but they quickly wipe the floor of Z-Freak there. There's the swap back. They try to force onto Moo. Moo's gonna be forced to Sakuchi out. Monkeys tries to go for a Dark Rift, but he gets just annihilated on this one. Moo, one of the lone survivors, trying to weasel his way out. Maybe get a catch for Resolution, who's turning the corner. Oh, the bugs. Actually didn't catch
Resolution
him.
needs to be careful now. He could just get caught next to Weaver with no Shadow Blade, and he will just die very quickly, but that won't be the case. And now
Cancels back, and they kill the creep.
no, he just cancelled that TP.
Oh, he
They didn't kill it. He just made a snap choice. He realized that maybe the TPs into the entire DC lineup when his team were dying and dead were not the best idea. He learned from the death of his mid tier 2 that may have disastrous consequences. So, Tinker and Weaver survive, but everyone else not quite so lucky. So the 4-staff, a long way away from Monkeys. Swindles has dreams of having other items, but I think they're quite a long way off. Melons will survive the hook, because it misses just by a thread, but Resolution is a bit alone here, actually.
Yeah, and he just got hit with a laser too. No BKB, a second laser, and he's just locked down and taken out. A very fragile time, because this Roche is up, and the winning team will be able to go in and try to take it. And for now, it could
They
be
have all the times to
compLexity.
die and all the ways to die. That may have been one of the most precarious. But with the weave, they may still feel a bit scared, because Invoker is going to go regen. He's going to show up with Tornado EMP, and anyone in that Roche pit is liable to have all of their mana taken away and probably be exploded by Meteor Deafening Blast afterwards. Because Invoker now, level 21. If I just check right now, because I still don't know the hotkeys. Yeah, he's level 21, almost the highest level in the game. That's actually
Here
taken
he
by the hero that
comes.
just fell over.
Blinks in, sends out a Tornado, connects onto 2 with the EMP. Moo will lose his mana, but he's happy to time lapse and get it back. And continues to go to work. Z-Freak rolls in, gets connection onto Dude, drops the dust, drops the Magnetize, but he gets blasted right away as Moon hits him up with the Roar. DC looking to fight and bring this Roche right back their direction. Who's going to have to reposition, step back and away, gets the quick snipe and finish onto Misery there. Cancel takes to the high ground and will pop off the rockets from there. Minor Fatal Bonds does some work onto Zoxa, but not enough for the finish. Cole are able to still hold their pit. New pit will be dropped. Zoxa forces his way up to the high ground.
He's going to get chased down by Moo here.
We going for Monkeys, gets the full takedown right there. As mentioned though,
If Weehaw uses too many spells here, he's going to get killed by Weaver, I think.
he's on the high ground here. He's going to go for the finish of Melons. We'll get it. Buyback from Monkeys. Cancels there though. Hits him with the laser. The bug swarms out. Moo's going for the finish as mentioned. Graves out. But he wants to keep chasing for it. The pings are out. He's running. He's gone. Back at the Roche pit. Monkeys is going to die back. He buyback for this, and now he goes down. As Resolution comes back in, this is the most important fight ever as they buy back and try to keep it alive. Resolution, though, manning up onto Z-Freak. We'll get the finish there. Now it's on to Moo. He's forced to time-lapse, and then Misery comes up to play and steps in with a big rocket and a big connection of the hook shot.
How do you do that to a man? Right before the Roche, that was his chance to get the Rampage, and it gets furiously denied by Saxa, who drops in the right click. And we will just go in and straight start hitting the racks. The buyback And death from monkeys. Yeah,
Radiant's
that's
middle
good
tower
game.
is under attack.
Yeah, it was
Overall,
very
well
apparent
played and well
complexity
thought
were
from
like
DC.
fighting for the game there, committing so much with the buybacks and getting into it, and it looked like for a moment there they were going to be able to kind of hold the Roche their own with
And
the
you see
takedown of
Z3
Moon.
go in afterwards, and then he just gets
Yeah.
hit by the Solar Crest, and then healed with 5 creeps next to him, and then he just ceases to exist. That was very violent death. So, overall, I think the draft, definitely I'd have to favour DC for this one. I think that they had a decent laning stage, not the best. I think Z3 managed to get quite a lot done. He helped cancel quite a lot. But I think the fights after that, along with the pickoffs from Beastmaster, it's just DC's draft did what it was meant to do. And that was meant to pick you off, kill Roche, and then buildings from there on in.
Yeah, complexity, like they had a pretty good laning phase. You were already talking about how Cancel was really kind of giving it to Weehaw, but I don't know. Do you think they just needed to have even more coming out of the laning phase? Was there a bit too many missteps? How complexity were able to ride from such a good start and, you know, take that through the rest of the game and stop Digital Chaos from what they wanted to do?
Now, if you remember, like at 14 minutes, there was that weird kind of half gank that went on the bot tier 2. Alright? That is the Beastmaster with, I think, both Blink and Vlad's at that point, choosing to not dive to tier 2 with the Invoker like level 13 kind of thing with the Sunstrike coming down. I think the Beastmaster got a hell of a lot out of that bot lane. That bot lane from the Dazzle and Beastmaster worked out really, really well.
Yeah.
So Warlock didn't really have a great start. He had a slow Midas. They didn't really get to use the rock that well. They got some good fights with it, but they didn't get as early as they would like. And the Weaver was nowhere near as farmed as they would like him to be. Like, even from the very beginning, if you like look at the net worth graph for like 10 minutes, Weaver was on top, but Beastmaster was only 500 behind. And Beastmaster was the main hero that they actually took the fights around. He's the one that they use the aura with, the Vlads, they Roche with him, they take towers with him, they get the pickoffs with the Hawks. I think the fact that Beastmaster was very, very farmed in that game allowed DC to kind of choose how they wanted to take fights, and it made map control very, very easy, and they got a lot out of having that map control.
Congratulations to Digital Chaos. They will take this first game, but this is a best of 3. Winner of this moves on into the finals, where they'll await their grand final opponent. Loser of this series will face off against MP, who won in our previous series. We'll cut to a small break. When we return, myself, Cuddle Guy, and Rhyme will be back with Game 2 of Complexity versus Digital Chaos.